Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Charlie's Reviews. So, this past week, it was a very light week for me, so I will only be reviewing two books. So, this should be a pretty quick video, hopefully. I also got a couple of back issues. So, before we get on to the reviews, I'll show you some back issues and something very interesting that showed up in the paper, and I'll go with that first. And basically, they're actually talking about the selfie variant covers that this year will be releasing this month. I, so when I saw it, you know, really it was, well, it took me by surprise because I really didn't expect that, some variant covers would be news uh, here in Mexico. Um, so that was very strange. But no, there it is. So anyway, so first off with the back issues. The first one I'm going to show you actually got a really good deal for it. My shop doesn't usually give discounts on books or whatever. Uh, doesn't give discounts. Um, So you usually just get, the whether it be the cover price or the sticker price on the back issues. But this is Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 7. This is from the original 1998 series, the original run that tied into the show somewhat. But as you can see, it says 33 pesos. I actually paid 16 for it, so probably a little over $1 or so. Maybe a little bit, maybe $2. I'm not sure. But I actually sort of calculated what I was gonna pay in total, and when the cashier told me I was going to pay less, I was surprised because I didn't expect it. But yeah, 16 pesos for this. Unfortunately, the bottom staple is loose, and I didn't notice that when I read it. I actually noticed it yesterday. So pretty much, it's not holding all of the bottom part of the book. But it's a cheap book. I could easily replace it at some point. Not gonna, you know, be very expensive or anything. So, but it's cool. This is probably the second earliest issue of this series that I have. The first one being the first issue which I bought years ago. I also at a really good price. So there's that, and then there's Buffy season 8, number 22. So it's actually I'm not sure if it's cover price because I saw issue 23 going higher, but I'm not sure why. Um, because of the price, it's 2.99 book. Um, so I don't know, it's very weird. But doesn't really matter. So here we go, issue 22, and pretty much about to get almost every issue this um, of this run. Okay, so on to the books. So like I said, only two books came out this week for my pull list. I only got two books. So they're very different, and you'll see why. I probably might do a little contrasting with each book. Anyways, so first up, Justice League number 32. First off, very misleading cover, because Lex Luthor's secret knows one secret with what would he do to learn them all? But there's nothing on that sort of, he knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, but they really didn't do much with that. This issue, this is basically Doom Patrol centric. The Justice League themselves feel like guests in their own book. Uh, very small appearances. The Luthor part of the book, just a few pages in the middle and some in the end. For the most part, the Luthor storyline so far feels kind of padded. We know he joins the Justice League. I know there's supposed to be some sort of that there has to be a story on why Lex finally joined the Justice League, but uh, it's been what, maybe 3 months since the storyline started, and there's no payoff, even though we know what the payoff is going to be. I'd be amazed that we're still seeing Lex trying to join the league next year, because it feels like it's just being stretched out so much. Uh, though his appearance here at the end, seems like he's forcing himself into the Justice League, pulling himself in. He's got he's been watching the league, and whenever they show up, he shows up. You know, Nothing much on that front, but it just does seem a little bit padded, and we should, get to that point sooner, because, you know, by the next, I don't know, big event that's coming, and we get a tease of that here as well. We might still not see Luthor joining the league, because this is very typical of Jeff Jones. He just stretches stories, you know, while telling other stories. Basically, here we have they're dealing with the new Power Ring. This girl Jessica Cruz, that Doom Patrol pretty much hogs the entire issue. That just to like only show like you know in a few pages. Like I said, it's an interesting story. I'm still curious to see where it goes. I really want to see how Luther finally becomes an official member of the league, but it's a very mixed thing. It's got some good moments, some good things, some interesting things, but some other stuff is just hugging useless, hugging space, and pretty much there is no Justice League in the Justice League at all. They're not the main focus of the book at all. But I'll probably stick with it for a while. I'm really curious about the whole Power Ring story. And like I said, we're getting a tease for like the next storyline, the next big event. Uh, Again, another typical move by Jeff Johns. Here we go. Here we get the tease. Um, which is basically like as a vertical of Jeff Johns, just every issue just a stepping stone for the next big event. He did that quite a bit of it, in the Green Lantern. At the end of Sinestro Core War, he was already building up towards Blackest Night. So same here. It just seems like there are stories, but they're all just building up for the next major event. Uh, but still, there's enough interesting things to keep me going, though. And, I don't know. Although I did say that I might drop this book because I don't really like Luthor, but we still haven't gotten to that point where he officially joined. So, you know, I'll stick with it for as long as I'm interested. On the other hand, Aquaman Annual number two. Uh, I li- this annual, unlike the last one, the annual number one, which was on basically focused on the others, and wasn't really necessary in the overall story of Aquaman, but it did serve, I guess, as a launching on point for the Aquaman and the Others book. Um, this one does count because it concludes to a degree the Hercules giant monsters story from Aquaman 29 and 30. Um, so, it's not such a big story. It's, it doesn't have to be a big story. Uh, it's, I would probably say the first Aquaman and Wonder Woman team up of the New 52 outside of the Justice League. Both of them working together. Um, it's also because this one has a backup with Mira. I would say this is like the I guess first real formal meeting between a Wonder Woman and Mira, since that's one of Atlantis storyline wasn't a nice, or wasn't, what I'm trying to say is, it wasn't a situation where you'd be a little bit more formal. It was just like more, you know action driven, working together without really getting to know each other. So this is probably the first formal meeting and team up between Wonder Woman and Mira as well. uh, I really liked it. I liked the art. It was a fun story, action driven, but being double sized, you get more character moments besides a lot of the action stuff right at the end. Um, so definitely enjoyable. I'm really enjoying Parker's run on on Aquaman. It feels uh, on Aquaman. It doesn't have to be big stories at all. It's not building to anything big. Just the continuing adventures of Aquaman, and I'm loving it. And this annual is a perfect spot to tell an extra length story uh, that was teased at the end of the last arc, which pretty much this concludes finally after, and not really interrupting, the ongoing storyline. So another enjoyable read. So that's it for this week of Charlie reviews. Next week is gonna be quite heavy. Um, and finally, it's gonna be quite heavy. I got, besides my regular books, there are two else coming out that I will be getting, which will be the Action Comics Annual and the Superman Wonder Woman Annual, part of the Doom storyline. Finally, it ends this month, with Aftermath stories coming in October. So I'm hoping that the end of the Superman event ends better than what it's been so far, which has been a sort of roller coaster ride. Just goes up and down. Some, like I've mentioned before, some issues are very good, some are terrible. Uh, but anyways, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to leave your comments. And until next time, keep smiling.